Hey, everybody. Welcome to Full Vantage Podcast. I'm amped today. I'm here with Mackenzie. She is art director, marketing director. Can you give me your official title just real quick?
Oh, yeah. I'm the guest services and media coordinator at Loyal Coffee.
Loyal Coffee. That's exactly where we are. We're in Loyal Coffee in Colorado Springs. I'm so pumped to be here. This is such a cool room.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. It's probably one of the coolest meeting spaces in town, so...
I just feel like we're going to have the best combo. Before we even jumped on, we were having phenomenal hangs. Mackenzie's lived in the Springs for 3 years. You started as a barista, and you've just made your way through the org, and the views outside of this coffee shop are incredible.
Yeah, if you need a good patio to drink a good sparkling lemonade, this is also the place for that too.
Okay, so I've never heard of sparkling lemonade.
Yeah.
Give us the skinny on that real quick.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a European style, little bit of the east side, I guess. It's made with an oleo, so you use the peel of the orange and lemon, and you actually let it sit in sugar overnight, and then you boil it all down. But it extracts more of that oil from the peels rather than just the juice. But it's pretty interesting.
Whoa. Details. But that's what you get with specialty coffee, which is exactly what we were just talking about. So on today's episode, we're going to have a great conversation talking about Loyal Coffee, specialty coffee, a little bit of your journey, and then let's just see where this goes because I think this is going to be really inspirational. And there's some vision here at Loyal Coffee. There's some loyalty at Loyal Coffee. You can't have, you put the loyal in loyalty, that's what I'm talking about. From caffeine to conversation to just all the things. So do you mind beginning with a little bit of your journey? How did you get here, decide you were going to be a barista? What's your background? Because you're super cool, Mackenzie.
Sure, thank you. So I moved to Colorado Springs about 3 years ago with two friends of mine, and I was doing behavior therapy at the time, which I really loved. I have a really big heart for people on the spectrum and just different situations like that. So I absolutely adored that, just got a little burnt out with the companies that I worked for, so I wanted to take a step back. Was kind of my thought process behind going to Loyal. Was I had worked at Starbucks in the past and thought, I'll just go back to the service industry, kind of take a break for a minute. And I looked at it as kind of taking a step back, maybe a break, but in reality, it really sent me just straight forward. Since working at Loyal, I was a barista and then a shift supervisor, and then I was the assistant manager. And then after assistant manager is whenever I became full-time with guest services and media coordination, which is kind of like a 2-in-1 job. So it's really great. I've got my hands just completely tied here since I moved, and it's just brought me so much people and community and new hobbies and things like that. So I give so much credit to Loyal because they bring community to so many people.
Oh, man. Bring community to so many people, and you found a home here.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so I've talked with so many people over the past decade, and everyone's struggling on whether they should stay somewhere, whether they should stick it out in a job. And what I hear with you is you knew that you wanted to stay, and you started at kind of base level, if you will.
Yeah.
And you had a little bit of experience. Obviously, you were a barista at Starbucks. What made you want to stay? Because I think that is a question that a lot of people are wrestling with. Should I stay in the role that I'm currently in? Do I grow? What are some things that you were seeing that helped you make that decision?
I think internal growth is something that I personally really focus on. I see a lot of advantage and opportunity in growing businesses that aren't quite small anymore, but they're not franchise or corporate businesses like Starbucks. A little bit bigger than a mom and pop, but somebody who's growing and developing systems that are meant for, humanity. So I think I knew pretty early on that Loyal was a great place for me to be for opportunities. And I remember telling them very early on, I'm going to do your social media and events. That's really what I'm geared towards. I'll manage a cafe if you want me to, and I'll do it very happily, but that's my big picture. And so to be able to get here within 3 years is pretty crazy, but I'm extremely, extremely blessed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you give yourself a shout out real quick? What is it about you that made your bosses say, okay, Mackenzie has it?
Yeah.
What is it, in your opinion?
Probably initiative, and I think I said that word already, but I think that we all have ideas. That's the easiest part, is coming up with ideas, but somebody's got to get in and actually do it. So to just put something on pen and paper and pitch the idea, or to just, draw the design and show it to them, or just get your feet wet and do what you're wanting to do rather than just all talk, Anybody can do anything. There's so many people that are more experienced than I am in the role that I'm in, but because I took advantage of the opportunity and just went full force, it didn't really matter how much experience I had necessarily.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so I've heard this before, and either I heard it before, I've just recognized it. I think I heard this before. I just can't pin the origin of it. But if you have initiative and you have a little intuition, you're usually going to have one more or the other. But if you can gain both, and then you can have check this out, the eyes to see. Because both begin with I, you get it. And then you can see with both eyes.
Right, that had to have been something. You didn't just come up with that. That's too good.
I read that somewhere. But I think that's really cool because initiative, you're right, anyone can have an idea. Yeah. Very few people can put it into implementation. Shout out to another eye. Implement it and start it and actually do it. So were you somebody that had a lot of good ideas, or did you take it and actually they allowed you to implement it in some ways? Because that's what I hear you talk about when you say taking opportunity. Yeah. Is that kind of how that fleshed out? How did that flesh out?
Right. I think it's a mix of I had a lot of ideas, but I also realized that nobody else had capacity to do it. So it was more so of that, just seeing that there's something that needs to be done and somebody's physical hands need to do it. It may not be the biggest, best ideas that get completed. It might be the most minimal thing that we actually put out, but just making sure that we're staying consistent and maintaining something that's strong rather than just throwing up a bunch of stuff willy-nilly. So I think that my goal was to not offer, I offered ideas constantly. I'm the big idea person, but I think that just actually getting in and doing the work, I think makes the biggest difference.
What types of ideas? Because I feel like, yes, you have a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
I can just sense that about you. But I bet your ideas are more than just good or preference based. What kind of ideas are we really talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody knows that Loyal does give such a cool experience. So I think we'd all love to see a bar or, a slow bar at our roastery with a tour. I don't know, something like that. Since I came on, I started April Fools is something that we celebrate, and it's very silly, but that's the intention, it's to have a little humanity and be lighthearted. The first year I did a grilled cheese latte. So I kind of did this really photoshopped fake grilled cheese latte. But then this year I did a cat Pacino and used my actual cat to do this whole photo shoot. So it's been really silly to come up with ideas like that just bring smiles and just something that's not too deep, and to just get in, start somewhere, get involved with the community somehow, even if it's a silly April Fool's post. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but finding somewhere, just starting there.
Oh man. Okay. So are you saying that fun is a big aspect of Loyal Coffee?
I mean, I'd say fun's a big aspect. I don't know if that comes off on the forefront. I think when you look at the brand or you just look at the cafe, you might think minimalism and, clean and just very put together and a lot of processes. But I think Loyal at its heart, in all of our training documents, in all of our handbooks and branding materials, I think there is a lot of fun, quirkiness, and sarcasm that doesn't always get translated that I'm really excited to bring forward.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So you've said this word twice now, and I think it's important for us to highlight because every time you said it, you've been meaning something. And I don't feel like everyone defines this word the way that you would define it. So I would love for you to color it in for us.
Okay.
Okay. You ready for the word?
Yeah.
Humanity.
I knew it. I was getting a little excited. I saw it. I was I know what word he's going to say.
And I knew that you would get excited about it. So I haven't heard you use that word yet.
Right.
And I don't hear a lot of people use that word.
Yeah.
And so it's an intentional thing. Take me like to the depths, if you will, let's maybe get drowned a little bit with that, like the meaning of that word.
Totally.
Like I want to really understand what you mean by that.
I think that that's a great question because for me, that's what loyal has been. Like that's been the main thing that I've learned is how to have humanity for people, what humanity is, what it looks like to not have humanity. And so, yeah, I think that it's something, we have core values here, as most companies do. You have a few characteristics that you really want your people to emulate when they're on the floor and, showcasing your company or your brand. That's common. But one of our really strong values is humanity. We only interact with people for a couple of minutes a day, if that. And you can still impact somebody's day so significantly. And I think a lot of that comes from how they enter into our environment. And we can't determine that. We're going to get what we're given. We can't pick and choose our guests. So when they come in, you have a couple of minutes not knowing what their previous experience was before they walked in, and how can you gear that couple of minutes to turning their day around or making it better or, more excellent. And so I think humanity really goes so far in that, just taking a moment to see that person as they are. Maybe you just spend a minute and ask them how their day was, or you just talk to them and ask them their favorite song. Just sitting there for a couple of seconds and seeing that person as a human, I think really goes so far, especially in the service industry, because it's not something we see often. It's not a word that's talked about. Service industry, we call it the hospitality industry. It's not really service over here. It's all hospitality. And I think that, that always stems from humanity. So.
Oh, man, that is a big difference.
Yeah.
Because serving somebody an item or a product or an experience even, that's one thing. And
right.
You guys, obviously when I walked in, you excel at that. Minimalism, really cool, fresh.
Definitely.
If you will. The environment is something that I would like to be a part of. And the place is full.
Yeah.
Your product is accomplishing something.
Sure.
But, and then do you really encourage your employees to take a moment to ask a nuanced, intentional question like that? Like how does it filter from a leadership point of view down to like everyone that's involved?
Definitely.
How does that look?
I think it is that humanity. It doesn't have to look like something specific. We're all individuals. Everybody's experience is very different. Every guest that comes to the register is a different person. So you can't possibly treat them all the same. If you sat there and just said, "Hi, how are you?" to every single person, that's not gonna, feel good by the end of the line when everybody can hear you. But if you are just, taking a second to see that person as somebody, then it goes really far. And it is something that we encourage our team to do. And it's something that they do with each other. Like we're constantly just thinking how we can see somebody as a human and what that does for them, I guess.
Yeah. Does that filter, usually in a company or an organization, something like that has to filter from leadership or a top-down hierarchy, whatever. Usually that has to flow from them.
Definitely.
And I imagine that's probably the case. It feels like a very relational company. Mm-hmm. So what is there anything unique that is revealed and why you would want to stay here with that and maybe not go start your own thing or be a part of something else? Like what is the tangible, like, whoa, this place is set apart because anyone can say like, how's your day?
Totally.
Or favorite song or whatever, which are amazing things. It's a great conversation starter. But how does it really separate between what you've seen and you experience here?
Yeah, I think as an employee, there's a super vulnerable relationship within our communication, within our relationships and how we see each other and talk to each other. We really make sure that we are taken care of and respected. And I think that the internal relationships really impact the external with our guests. And so our team has all of the resources they need and communicates efficiently because we've all been taught how. And, we're given the tools. We're not just thrown into this like complex system of, a bunch of different, systems. We're taught and given time, and everybody's learning style is different. So it's nice to see like a company that's training people consistently, but also has understanding for where different people are at and things like that. So it just always goes back to humanity for me, I feel like.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because it's not, hey, ask this set of questions. No, it's like, hey, be a person that you want to be and build relationships that you want to have with your employees. Yes, but also like partners in crime, if you will, or partners in the industry or co-workers. And if we can do it there, then it'll overflow into the people that we don't know.
Right.
Because if you can build a relationship with someone you do know and it be great habits, highly honest, because you're building a relationship off of love and joy, then guess what? You're probably going to end up doing that with others. Now, a lot of times I've seen that not be helpful in companies like this because people are like, hey, no, do this to get this outcome. And it's like, no, be this because you are the outcome.
Right.
You know, and if you flip it around, then it's like, oh, then I'll get the outcomes I want because I am the outcome.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm who I want to be and who I need to be to build a relationship with you.
Right.
Man, I think that's really exciting.
I think it's cool. I think a lot of it is in that vulnerability of that small business that's also growing.
Yeah.
And where that, like, giving ownership to your team and your internal people and making them feel like it's a little bit more of their space that they have control over. And yeah, they're going to impact people. And we're all focusing on how to make this an excellent environment. We're hosting people and, you know, like kind of framing that mindset a little bit more and not just like, oh, we're all working for a paycheck at the end of the week. It's like, we are all working for a paycheck. So how can we make this like best for everybody?
Yeah, the best paycheck I've ever got.
Right.
To where it feels less like work and more like hobby.
Yeah, definitely.
More like something I just love to do. So I can't believe I get paid to do something I love.
Very rewarding.
So how do you celebrate that? Because, you know, like what you celebrate is what usually gets replicated.
Sure.
That whole concept. How do you guys celebrate?
Yeah. I think we make sure that we take very good care of our team. We know how much they're exhausting emotionally every day because we are like, you're spending a moment with every individual and seeing them as a human, and that can be draining. Like, even if it's all positive interactions, it's still extremely emotional. And so making sure that our team has what they need, whether it's a day off, you know, or we have a team dinner. Once a year we have a really nice dinner where everybody's treated really well and they are hosted. You know, taking time to host your team the way that they're hosting everybody else and making sure that they're giving the love that they're giving to everybody else, because they're the ones running your business. You know, like everybody loves Loyal because of the baristas, and we'd be silly if we didn't take care of them and only cared about the beans, you know?
Yeah. So do you guys are your own roaster as well?
We do roast our own beans as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we're locally roasted. We have 2 locations as well. You got to have a good product too. You know, you got a great experience, good product. It still goes far. So we do have good coffee. It's not just the humanity, but yeah, it is good stuff.
No, yeah. Can you talk about the product for a second?
Yeah.
Because, and like the locations.
Sure.
Because we're in the OG spot right now.
We're
Is that
actually
right?
in our second location up north.
Okay.
So our OG spot's downtown.
Okay.
It's on Nevada Avenue, and it is a gorgeous shop. That was the first location they opened. It's an old bakery, which is really cool because in the inside it's got some of the old bakery signage and some gorgeous tile on the floor and stuff like that. So that's definitely a spot to check out, because this is one of your first times in the Springs to hang out. So I'd check out downtown. I sent Zach there the other day, and that was great. But yeah, so downtown was first, and then 3 to 4 years later came us, and we are the second location up north on, what are we on?
We're close to the interstate.
We're up by 25. We're by Interquest. I don't know. I can't. Conglomerate Loop.
153
Conglomerate
is the exit
Loop.
number.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So we're up north. This location looks similar to downtown, but it has its own twists on some things. It's got booths, which are really fun. You don't see in coffee shops too often.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're in our conference room, which is super cool. Our downtown is about to open some new conference rooms. We've got some meeting spaces coming downtown, but right now we've got our north gate. So this spot is super cool to be able to host events and meetings in. And then we've got our roastery. It used to be at the Ivy Wild School, which is an old school they converted into a bunch bunch of bars and restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Another really
Okay.
cool spot. But our roastery originally started there, which was a fun little collab. But now we're actually on our own. We've outgrown our last roastery, which is super exciting.
Sweet.
Yeah, go roastery team. But yeah, we're rocking our roastery downtown. Got 2 locations, got a bunch of things coming. So Loyal is just booming.
All right, what can you talk about that's coming? Give me some vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on,
so
Mackenzie.
this super cool room we're in,
Yeah.
Conference room up at the Northgate location. We're building 3 more downtown. So we just recently took over our whole building downtown, which has been super exciting to watch that grow and develop. But we're going to have 3 new spaces down there that are all different in design and size and seatings of the tables. But we're super excited because there will be more options for people to do stuff like this in different spaces and bring more, experiences to the community. So
Yeah, no, I think that's
we're
sick.
very excited.
Yeah, if someone wants to kind of follow the journey,
Sure.
or even like come check out the space or rent these spaces, because there's so many remote businesses.
Yeah.
But this would be a sweet space for like creative work or design. And I always need a good whiteboard, and you have the perfect amount.
We've got 3 giant whiteboards.
Of whiteboards.
Yeah.
My brain only works with whiteboards, just to be fair.
I love writing.
Zach
I know it's
seen me.
silly.
Yeah, I'm desperate for a whiteboard, and it looks crazy when we get done. But the whiteboard does. I always look crazy, but yeah, the whiteboard looks wild. So what I was saying is, like, how can people connect?
Yeah. Instagram, we're Loyal Coffee. TikTok, we're Loyal Coffee. Just about everything, we're Loyal Coffee, which is super easy and great. On our website, you can rent the conference room up north, is the one we have available right now for $65 an hour, which isn't bad because it comes with free drip coffee, 10% off the meeting room, access to the Apple TV, those big cool whiteboards you were talking about, and some other stuff. So it's pretty reasonable. Like you said, big groups, come in,
Yeah.
each pitch in a little bit, and it's not bad to get a cool experience in a coffee shop and have your meeting somewhere that's not boring.
No, exactly. And I'm not kidding. The view on the patio
Yeah.
is crazy. I just love, so like I'm new to the West.
Okay.
I love that I can be warm and see a ton of snow on the mountains.
Yeah.
That is weird for my brain.
It's pretty crazy.
And eyes. And so I love the contrast because I'm like, whoa, that's fun.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Okay, so like I want to take a step back. I just thought it was a good moment to kind of like tell people how to connect.
Yeah, totally.
But there's a few things that are really interesting to me that you've highlighted, and I even want to talk about you a little bit because I also think that you bring a ton to the table. Because like, what are you doing creatively? Because again, like, roastery, hospitality industry, we're not just selling a product. You have a phenomenal one. You just talked about how amazing the product is, but then also you're trying to get people to be involved and come join. Like, what excites you creatively about what Loyal Coffee is doing from your perspective?
Yeah, I think that as our capacity has built and, the cafes are performing really well and we have more hands to do more things, watching the brand evolve from that really minimalism, clean, fresh feeling to something that feels a little bit fun, quirky, sarcastic, like I mentioned earlier, just really leaning into that and expanding the brand. And what does that look like with, videos or work on our social media or new merch items? How can we bring in that fun hospitality feeling that you get when you enter into the cafe? How can we emulate that in our brand across, mugs? And that's silly stuff. Like, how can I make this mug feel like a better experience or be more fun? And I just love like thinking of the challenge. How can I make something more fun? So I'm really excited to see where the brand goes because that's mostly what I'm working on and just learning new things. I don't have really much experience. I didn't go to college or anything like that. So I just sit there and I talk to other creatives and I get as much information as I can. And then I'm like, cool, how can I use this? And then see where I go.
Shout out to everyone that hasn't gone to college.
Yeah.
That's a really
shout out.
So like thinking through that is important because college is great.
Yeah.
And college may not be for some people. And
Right.
like, whoa, it's like time out. Like, it's okay.
Right.
Like, we can figure this thing out because some people just may not have enough money to go to college.
Sure.
Or like want to even figure out what they do first.
Yeah.
Or who they are. And I just think it's important to have direction. You are still growing a brand.
Right.
Okay. You said something that I love, and it's like all about growth.
Yeah.
And that is not what anyone is doing. When you have a good product and you can perform, meaning like you can accomplish the task in getting people the product, a lot of people stop there. Why keep going?
Right.
Why keep going?
Because it doesn't, I mean, you're going to get products everywhere.
Come on.
Switchback, Hold Fast. These are all great coffee shops here in town that we're really close with and have great relationships to. And then there's places like Starbucks and Dutch Bros, also people that, we love and care about, but you got to do something different. You got to pave the way a little bit. I think that while being consistent and doing something similar gets you far, you do have to stand out to an extent. And for us, we just wanted that to be the experience and the hospitality and the humanity, because that is what so many places, and none of the I listed, but that's what a lot of places are missing, is that humanity. And that's where the hospitality comes in, and it's all just one big circle. So,
okay, so you want to grow because you haven't hit the end of your ability to be hospitable for as many people as possible. Like,
Right.
what is that? Yeah, is that right?
I mean, yeah.
Like, how would you define, like, what is that thing that's like, whoa, why are we not stopping here? You see what I'm saying, though? Like,
Yeah.
because, okay, you have meeting spaces. Coffee shops don't do this.
Sure.
You have your roastery. Not every coffee shop has your own roastery.
Right.
So you're trying to both be, you're trying to stretch out like, hey, we can be a supplier, we can go A to A, we can go to B to B, we can go A to B. But now we're doing like this whole like business thing where it's like, oh, we're also like renting space.
Yeah.
And like, I imagine if you keep this mindset, wherever it comes from, that's what I would love to hear. You're just getting started.
Right.
So what is that?
I think, we're still a business. Loyal Coffee is still a coffee shop that has to run sustainably and have enough funds to pay our farmers great wages and fair wages, which is super important to Loyal. Along with our team members, we take really good care of our team members. And green energy is not something that we hide. That's part of that vulnerability with the team that I talked about earlier is, Loyal's a small but growing business, and they're very open about their green energy, which is the money flow, and what that looks like. And I think that things like the meeting room are really what fill that. Things like the coffee, those are what we'd say there are vehicles to kind of drive into the community. That's what we're using. That's not necessarily what we care about or what our focus is, but to be able to take care of people the way that we want, or to be able to do more. We have to find ways that kind of feed that.
Yeah.
And so, it's still a business. You've got to find ways that feed your green energy so that you can do more things. So I think that a lot of the drive in some other directions could just be that circle of green energy and maintaining being a business. Because if it were just hospitality and humanity, we'd give out free coffee and hugs all day, but we do still have to pay our bills. So it's just part of it.
Yeah. It's definitely a combo because
Yeah.
if you don't take care of the one thing, you're not going to be able to take care of any one.
Exactly.
So I love thinking about this because a lot of times what happens in companies and organizations is we settle where we are and we stop. Yeah. And once we stop, the product starts slipping. And once the product starts slip, then we can't do all the things we want to do. And
Right.
so like keeping the main thing actually allows you to experiment
Yes.
on the different possibilities of like meeting spaces. Would you say that this is like the experiment right now? What's the experiment? I'm curious.
I guess
Maybe there's not one.
I guess you could say this is the experiment. This is kind of what can we do to drive the big picture?
Yeah.
Which it's a great balance of everything. Yeah, what can we use to drive the bigger picture, but also still give everything we've already wanted to, the product, the experience, the feeling, all of those things. Still staying true to the brand, still being different, still being fun. Something we say a lot is high tides raise all ships, and I really love that. That's one that I quote a lot because that is in reference to there are other coffee shops and we are doing similar things, but the higher we go and the higher they go, like everybody's setting a new bar for themselves. And so as we set a new bar, we're also setting a bar for ourselves. And how can we achieve that and excel on that? And I don't know. Yeah.
Have you heard that it's really important to choose the right competitor?
I mean, that makes sense, but no, I haven't.
So what's cool about that is it's actually how we stay in the game.
Right.
Because if we choose a quality competitor, someone that's good, someone that's not settling,
They challenge you.
They help us get better.
Right.
And they're not a nuisance, and they're not someone to defeat, actually.
Right.
You have to keep choosing the right competitor.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's really important. Like when we're building something, that we decide like, hey, like who am I competing against and who am I not competing against? And I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Would you say that like other coffee shops are your competitor, or would you say that they are more, what I hear is maybe even more partner, because we need them, but like there's different competitors.
Right.
Because like you said, and by the way, you can say something different. Like it's not a big deal. I just love learning from you. And I love learning business model. You're not in the coffee industry first. The vision is hospitality industry. And via coffee is maybe your mechanism to be in the hospitality industry.
Right.
So it seems like your competitor may not be other coffee shops. Yes, in the product, but not maybe in the overall vision.
Sure.
So what would you say
No, I
to
like that mindset. I think that is a challenging thought because I think most people would assume, other coffee companies are our competitors. But in the Springs, I think the coffee community is really strong.
Like together, like
yes.
you're on the same team.
Exactly. We're sending each other to other coffee shops. Holdfast is one of my personal favorites outside of this cafe. If I'm not here, I'm there, and vice versa. If I'm at another cafe, I see people that I see here. And so we're always sending each other to other places, which I think is great and just, promotes all businesses. We used to have what we call the disloyalty card, and it would have other local cafes on it. And once you completed it, you'd bring it back for a free cup of coffee here. But that was just a way to get people into the community, checking out other spots. But I wouldn't really see other cafes as competitors. They're definitely partners. Although it was silly. I watched whenever we first started, we had really cool bags, coffee bags for our beans. And over the years, all these other cafes started making really cool bags. And we're like, okay, we're kind of falling behind on the bags now because we used to have a cool bag, but now high tides rise all ships. So now we need another cool bag. So that's like, we are still competing and challenging each other. But it definitely isn't out of, malice or anything. I'd say I like the challenge. I think that if we had a competitor in a different industry, my thought would go more towards maybe like hotels and Airbnbs and, like bed and breakfasts. Small stay places, because that's the experience.
Little Coffee,
that's
I heard, is buying a hotel. We're going to have the Loyal Hotel.
I guess it'll be me there because they don't know about that.
No.
Fun stuff for sure.
Well, no, I just think that's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then you're not buying coffee shop books.
Right.
To study. What you're buying is you're buying luxury hotel books.
Sure. Dinner party hosting. You know, what are like hosting books, people books, psychology books. Yeah, you're not reading coffee for influence here.
No, because that's not how we change the game.
Yeah.
And what I love, think about it like this. The reason the bag thing was so valuable is because you wouldn't have innovated if you didn't have those other coffee shops.
Yeah.
And if we don't keep innovating, that keeps us settling.
Right.
And so, I mean, they're on your team, even though it's uncomfortable. But guess what? We need people on our team that make us uncomfortable.
Totally.
Because that keeps us growing and expanding and stepping in and just, oh man. Like, I think that's what we need. Like just as creatives.
Oh, yeah.
And as
You need to be challenged.
humans need that.
Right.
Because if we stop, guess what? We stop. If we stop growing, if we stop leaning in, if we start settling, then we cannot go any further.
Yeah.
We're done.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, there's so much more. There's so much more. I love thinking about like how much more we can step into in the beauty of life that is on the other side of feeling good.
Right.
You know, because your capacity and my capacity is greater than what we've experienced now. We're stepping into more.
Oh, yeah.
And man, okay, so what's the hotel then? What's the hotel competitor?
Oh, Kinship Landing here in town. They're absolutely great. It's a little local stay. I want to say they have a little spot like up on the roof where you can pitch a tent, and it's got like fake grass. You can do a little camping thing. I think they have like a joint room where it's one of those where everybody joins in the room. What's that called? A hostel?
Like a hostel type, but
yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Upscale hostel?
Upscale hostel, most gorgeous building you've ever been in. They do have a cafe as well. I see competitor, but I'm sitting here gassing them up.
You
Kinship
are gassing
is
them
great.
up. Guess what? We need the Airbnb above the store next.
Okay, we have joked about it. There's like a little, there's like some storage space. And we're like,
Come
what
on.
if we started renting it out?
People would step in
Right?
for
That'd
sure.
be a fun little
you throw a
Airbnb.
window, a whole glass wall window that
Yeah.
overlooks what I'm seeing out here.
You've got fresh
I'm in.
coffee in the morning?
Yes.
You wake up, get out of bed, and there's a cafe below you.
Come on.
Right.
We just literally created.
We just
I
got
haven't
somewhere.
met the owners yet. Can't wait to
They're
meet them.
amazing. Yeah.
Here they're awesome. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Yes,
You know,
thank
like,
you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. We'll get you in on that. Don't worry.
No, but like, okay, now if we're thinking like this,
Yeah.
how much does that change everything?
Oh, yeah. The possibilities are endless. I think because of how Loyal has navigated, I think that the name really can cover a lot of categories, not just coffee, and just sub-brand. You know, there's so many bars, breakfast spots,
Yeah.
hotels. Like,
Come on.
Loyal could
We just bought
keep
a hotel.
going. Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's great.
No, but this type of conversation that we're having changes the game.
Yeah.
Not that we even do the thing, right? Not that we even get the hotel or not. But I just don't even think people sit down, have a cup of Loyal coffee.
Right.
Okay. Or have a cup of coffee, wherever they are, and have this type of meaningful conversation. Sure, we didn't know each other.
Right.
But we're having a conversation that I believe is inspiring me, but also hopefully inspiring you.
Yeah.
Which is that's what I'm after.
Right.
And I just sense that that's kind of the thing that you're after as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because the spark of creativity that can be had in a moment can change the trajectory of someone's life. But are you surrounded with people that can have conversations like this?
Right.
Your team are those people.
Yeah.
You know, because someone on your team invited me to have a conversation with you. I'm
Right.
like, well, I have a high quality relationship with them. And so, of course, I want to have another high quality conversation because we've built relational equity
Yeah.
with someone that was in between.
Definitely.
And so it's like, oh, we can have a better moment than the randomness than if we just met each other. You know, like, I'll be like, oh, like we go service level. Well, guess what? Because there's someone in between that says, hey, you guys need to meet and have a convo. Well, guess what? Let's go.
Which Loyal is such a hub for. I think I have watched over the years so many people. I've watched people become best friends, like grown men become best friends and now have their families like hanging out and going to church together. And I just think that's so sweet. That's pure,
Yeah.
You're just hanging out at this cafe every day. You start to recognize people and start to say, oh, hey, what do you do? And it really is. It's just such a hub for community. And everybody here intermingles and meets so many people and just gets fired up on community, which is really fun.
Oh, man. Best days
Yeah,
spent at Loyal Coffee.
100%.
Oh, man. You better find you some time and schedule it ASAP.
It gets busy. But the conference room, you can schedule that one.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so as you celebrate all the things that are happening, you've got amazing vision. There's been some bad days. I'm interested
Sure.
in like what is a bad day? What's the worst day at Loyal Coffee that you've had?
They are few and far between. I really don't. And bad days here do not compare to anywhere else. And that's a common conversation we have as well. Culturally, that's really nice because.
I love that you guys talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, 100. It's so open. And that's what I think makes such a big difference is, you talk about your bad day, you get feedback, you just go through it. And it's a little easier to chew. So bad days don't feel as bad. But I'd say worst day. We have a lot of plumbing. Sometimes we have plumbing issues, I guess. I don't know. I double booked the conference room once.
That's a rough day.
It is. When you're working at a coffee shop, plumbing issues, no fun. I don't want to be the one to say it, but you need the bathrooms, okay? So that's no fun to deal with. I double booked the conference room once. That's no fun. So always do that manually. I'd say, we don't really get many unhappy guests either. Like we do just take everything as it comes and see people with humanity. So those are pretty easy to dissolve. I don't know. Bad days don't really happen here. I'm like, maybe I'm tired one day. I ran out of coffee and I had to wait 7 minutes to brew a new pot, while everybody's waiting on coffee. It's great.
No, I get it. How would you encourage people to handle bad days? Because when you're building something, frustration and anger comes in quick.
Yeah.
Because you're like peaking at all times.
Totally.
It feels like, because you're like, this is my baby. This is the dream. What are we doing? So like, how do you handle running out of coffee or the plumbing or a bad experience with a customer? Like, what would you do with that? Because like in the creative process, there's that massive amount of resistance because you've never been there before.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't know how this couldn't work, but guess what? It's probably going to come up.
Right.
How it's not going to work is going to rear its head. So when it does, and hey, Mackenzie, you're dreaming too big.
Yeah.
Like, too many good ideas.
Right.
They're actually all bad. I'm about to show you.
Okay.
Good luck going to the bathroom. But like, how do you handle stuff like that?
Yeah. I think it's two parts. I think one is in the later, kind of like I said previously, that feedback, that conversation after the hard day, talking to somebody, and just going through it and why did that go wrong and what does that lead me to do next time. We look at, accidents or bad things happening as practice, which is really nice because we always say that like, well, you learned that that's not a way that you can do that. So next time you don't have to try that one and you can go on to the next one. And so looking at it as practice and just knowing that everybody messes up, but I think it also comes in just owning it and having that humanity for yourself as well. I always love to take things and just be very real. Like one time I forgot a guest drink. It's late in the afternoon. I'm closing down the cafe. I forgot to make their latte. And I walk over there when I finally remember and I'm bringing them their latte and I just said, hey, I completely forgot about your drink. And I'm so sorry. I just said, I completely forgot. And they just laughed and weren't mad at all. And they were like, oh, it happens. You're busy. And I wasn't trying to say oh, I forgot. Don't be mad. I was just giving them the real reason and being honest and upfront, and it worked out totally fine. Just being honest and open and vulnerable and true to yourself and having humanity for yourself, I think is how you get through those days. You're gonna have bad days everywhere. So
you will. And what I hear is a good amount of humility.
Yeah,
is always received well.
Oh yeah.
And maybe not always, but most of the time it's received well. And if it's not, guess what? You got a team to support you and you'll handle it well. And I just want to take it back to even something you said that is crazy. A disloyalty card?
Yeah, the disloyalty card.
Okay, you were riffing really well, and I didn't want to stop you.
No,
but
you're
don't
great.
forget.
I love the throwback.
Yeah. Can we, so that could be, the reason I'm connecting the two is when someone goes to a different coffee shop, that could make you angry.
Sure.
That could be a bad day.
Yeah.
That could make you having a bad customer experience makes them go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You literally told people to go other places.
Right. And then we'll give them free coffee after. Can you? Yeah, that's
okay.
weird.
Where did that come from? I've never heard of that. I love that.
Right. I mean, they're going to go there. They're going to go there regardless. I mean, if they're drinking good coffee, if they're looking for specialty shops, they're going to end up at those places. So I think just finding a way to encourage that and to spin it positively and kind of like, yeah, make the end result a good experience, because they went to all of those places and spent money at all of those places, but then they came back and got free coffee here. So it's still like the cherry on top, because for us, they went and spent their money there. So that's not as exciting. You're still getting great coffee, a great experience. But yeah, for us, they get to come back and be really excited that they got to go on this cool coffee scavenger hunt. They get free coffee at the end. So even though we are kind of doing it a little weird, it still gets people excited about Loyal. And I think that that's the main thing. It's not even the cup of coffee. It's the Loyal. I don't know.
No, I think it's hilarious, amazing, but I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
And again, I think that proves the point that I was making earlier when I was like, I don't know if they're your competitors, the way that you guys are handling things. Yes, they make you better. Yes, in some ways, they are your competitor.
Right.
In like finance or money flow or green energy, as you called it earlier, which is hilarious. But like at the end of the day, you're in the hospitality industry,
right? Which
is a different conversation. So I love that we like navigated that and had some fun with that. What's vision for you? So we talked about vision for the company.
Yeah.
I'm just really keen on like Mackenzie. She's on the rise, 3 years Loyal, branded, all the cool things that you've done here. Where are you headed?
I'm staying here, man. I'm staying at Loyal. I'm staying at Loyal Coffee as long as I can, but I'm taking all the experience. I'm, getting them for what they got. I'm getting all the knowledge. I'm getting all the resources. I just want to keep growing. I'm right now as media coordination. I'm really wanting to grow that aspect. I love the guest services, running the conference rooms and, that side of things, but the creation, the graphics, the design, the art, the fun, creative outlet, I think is where I really want to grow. I could see that media coordination turning into more event planning or creative direction as a whole. So I think there's a lot of places that it can go, which is really exciting for me because I am getting so much experience and knowledge in one place. I'm going to ride it out here, keep seeing how high I can climb that ladder, and just keep wearing my Loyal Blue that I surprisingly don't have on today. It's literally my favorite color, and I wear it every day, but not today.
My favorite color is blue, so I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of the Loyal Blue.
It's a good blue.
It's pretty fire. What are you most passionate about? Oh, okay, so what are you most passionate about in like learning right now?
Right.
Because
I was going to say people. Now we're going back to the first.
No. What are you most passionate about in learning? Sorry, because like that's going to help you in your passions. Also, like shout out to like the employers that have high ceilings for the employees.
Right.
It allows high quality people like yourself to stay under that umbrella and stretch out and fly even and like pursue and grow, because like we may be starting a Loyal media company. We may start Loyal catering or loyal services, Loyal parties. You know what I mean? Like who knows? But like the point is, if we can dream it, maybe we can see it.
Yeah, we're not capping anybody off here.
Right.
We're, bottomless drip in the conference room. No cap. No cap.
Bottomless drip. Oh my gosh, is that true?
That is true.
Okay, so if they reserve
the meeting room, they get bottomless drip coffee. For whoever's in here.
I just had the drip and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it could be 15 people in here. They're still getting free drip coffee.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
The creativity that's going to come out of these conference rooms is going to like cause an Airbnb to be built above. So you.
Yeah.
What is the space that you're like, hey, I'm most passionate to learn X?
Definitely. I think it's probably continuing as most creatives getting comfortable on Adobe softwares.
Oh, really? Like just the whole suite?
Just the whole suite, baby. Right now, I'm most comfortable on Illustrator.
Yeah.
We got Photoshop behind it. We're going After Effects. We're hitting them all. But it really is crazy because they're all so different. But yeah, just continuing to build comfortability there. I think that is Yeah, I think taking it from from a more to a more digital platform, taking art to a more digital platform.
Yeah.
I've never done that before, so turning things into stuff is all new.
I love that. Do you know one of the things, if somebody doesn't know what they're going to do with their life, and someone loves art or design, and they're not necessarily a maker, one of the things that I say, or they do make, and they're like a painter and like they love, but that's not necessarily what they want to do. I'm like, okay, I promise you, now this is a big promise, but I promise you, if you become an expert in the Adobe suite, you will find whatever job you want because everyone's looking for that.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for that. Hot take real quick, AI versus Adobe Suite Human.
I'm going to go Adobe Suite Human.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was practicing with AI for some of the first time the other day, and that makes some scary stuff. It's not making humans. It's not making normal things that you can actually use. So you're still going to have to edit it after AI. Might as well just go experienced Adobe Suite Human.
Do you agree with me in that, like, if you can get the skill set now, it will really help you step into like the design or creative world. Whether AI takes that skill and like monopolizes it or whatever, you'll still have to coach it, right? You'll still have to train it. You'll still have to speak into it.
Definitely.
To get the product you want out of it. So whether you're editing on the front end or the back end or in the middle, it doesn't matter.
You're still going to need to know what you're doing.
Right. To get the outcome you want.
Right.
Gosh, I love that. Mackenzie, this was a phenomenal combo.
This is great.
I had a blast.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for checking out the conference room. I need another cup. Let's go.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah.
So usually with a cup, the micro content is a game changer. There's
a lot of little
on the inside,
Easter eggs in there, yeah.
And there's some content right here. Random, on purpose?
On purpose, completely intentional. Okay. So we've got on the inside is our community circle. So that kind of has a few different meanings. There's a lot of different rings that make up one big circle, kind of similar to our owners or the people that started Loyal. They're all their own, but we're all one. It could kind of look like a topographical map of a mountain from the top view, if you wanted to say that. We are in Colorado.
That's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, maybe a little marbled effects, just some earth textures. But yeah, that's that one. And then on the handle, we've got our community by way of coffee sign. So those are just some icons that we've, built for our brand. You're not going to find those anywhere else, but that's our community by way of coffee. So we use those a lot. Yeah.
Community. There it is. I was upside down. Community times coffee, kind of like.
Right. Just going back on that, coffee's the vehicle to community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like community collaborates with coffee.
Right.
Oh man. All right. Sweet. So you said you didn't go to college. Which is cool. I love that. And just kind of as we bring this, before we bring it to a close, I think it's important to encourage people, both on the college side and not the college side, whether they have enough money or not, or whether they know what they want to do or not. If you would say, if you would encourage somebody, okay, that is struggling with what they want to do, or even just going to college, what would you say to somebody that does want to go from creativity to actual real life experience before they spend tens of thousands of dollars on college? Because it's just getting worse, that gap between affordability and just not being affordable.
Sure. Yeah. I think that there's obviously so many resources online. It's 2024. YouTube is crazy. Yeah. So Adobe software is, like we were saying, there's just so many tutorials. I think everything I've came across that I'm like, oh no, how do I make a star? And then I'm like, oh, I just go online and Google how I make a star. But I think it's taking advantage of, reading materials or just TED Talks or things that made an impact to people that are already, I think, doing it. Something I find helpful is asking people that are already in those industries that I'm looking into is, what genuinely made an impact on your knowledge? Was it a book you read? Was it a podcast you heard? What's something that you really grabbed and took a hold on outside of your school?
Yeah.
Because there is so much knowledge in schooling that we can give ourselves that, I'm still reading and still learning the knowledge, but I'm just doing it in other ways. So taking advantage of the people that I've met and asking, impactful questions on their experience,
Yeah.
I think is probably been the most helpful. And just, create stuff. I mean, have fun, make things, pitch your ideas, just do the dang thing. Like
Start.
Start and draw the concept and like just start somewhere. I think create, and you'll get somewhere. You're always going to have a rough draft. It's never your final draft. So as long as you have a project that you're thinking about, I think you should just start it.
Yeah, take the opportunity that is now and just run with that.
Right.
And start simple and start on the short term.
It does not have to be anything crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
I literally looked up how to make a star the other day.
No, you did not.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But it's some simple stuff like that.
But you
right?
would. But you would. I've heard this, and I just love this thought. So this has really helped me. The difference between you, Mackenzie, today,
Sure.
and you in 5 years or 10 years is actually the places you go, the people you meet, the books you read, and the things you memorize.
Yeah.
It's not about the classes you took.
Right.
It's
I don't remember anything from high school.
Well,
that
sure.
didn't do me any good.
Sure.
So I don't
sure.
think college might not either.
Right. And so it's like, it's not necessarily about, it's about your intentionality on how you're living your life and what you're trying to put into your life so that you become this person. And if you need it to be school, great. But if not, hey, like, I would encourage people to start earlier in life.
Yeah.
Start earlier.
Right.
Like, don't allow, hey, I need to decide on going to college, and that question happen 3 months before you needed to make a decision.
Right.
Or a year before you need to make a
I could have
decision.
been learning Adobe in high
Yes.
school, even though I didn't have a
Yes.
job. That's access to things. Like, you have access to that. And I'd be so much more proficient if I started earlier. And it's just practice. So
Yeah. And it's okay to be professionally trained.
right. No, 100%.
But like, the question that I love to even begin with is like, hey, like, what do you want your life to look like?
Yeah.
Let's focus on the outcome first and who we want to be.
Sure.
From there, we can actually reverse engineer the thing and maybe see the dream come into our real life. But if you don't have a dream, good luck ever stepping into it.
Right.
Right? And so I'm like, oh man, can we just have some fun, like thinking about what life could look like,
Totally.
or we want it to look like, or be like? And man, we just need to take the pressure of school, I think, off the table.
Right.
Because if the dream looks like needing professional schooling, well, guess what? You need to do maybe some things to do it. But if not, hey, like, there's a lot of courses.
Right.
You need to start getting yourself in rooms with other people that are ahead of you and learning what they have learned and getting coaching from them.
Right.
You don't have to have somebody that's making $1 million a month doing design. You can learn from somebody that's making $100 a month or a few $100s a month, or just making money.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be just, well, who's making money doing the thing that you want to do? It's actually best not to get somebody that's maybe even doing a living on that
Right.
thing, but someone that's on their way.
Sure.
And so I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves that's before we even know what we want.
Right.
You know, when did you know you wanted to be who you are today?
I think I am also, I just turned 23 like 2 weeks ago. I think it's the first time in my life where I'm like, oh, I'm in my 20s. This is what your 20s is. Like, I hit 23 and now I'm like, oh, my mind, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? I think we're constantly readjusting and constantly reframing what that looks like and rebuilding our Pinterest board of life, if you will, because it's constantly evolving. So I don't know if you ever truly know who you are. As long as you're constantly looking for it, I think that's really important. But I don't know if we'll ever actually figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that you're 23. You're
It's
so
fun.
young.
It's a fun age.
You're
yeah.
so young.
I know.
Okay. Also, it's okay to figure out as you go.
Right.
Okay. So why did you choose to work at Loyal?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I don't think I asked that question. Why did you choose to work at Loyal?
Well, I was a guest. I walked in and I felt the experience for myself when I was still working in the behavior industry. And so I came in years ago, got a cup of coffee. I remember sitting in the parking lot, videoing my friend like my coffee review and being like, oh my God, this coffee's so good. Like
No
it reminds me of
way.
my hometown, yada, yada. And then, I really had no idea that I would be working here a couple of years later. And it was just thinking I was taking that step back, like I
Yeah.
mentioned. But I think Loyal's overall feeling is what just made me gravitate towards it.
Okay. I think that's a great place for people to begin.
Yeah,
Where would you like to work?
sure.
Oh my gosh. What environment would you like to work in? What group of people would you like to work with? What do you talk about that inspires you most? You did a coffee review of the Loyal product.
Right.
Okay. Just even the fun, simple fact that you did that revealed that if there was a job opening, you may want to work here
Right.
if the review is good.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's a great place to begin because guess what? If this place wasn't worth being a part of and you got a job here, you can mark it off the list. Oh, like I just think we need, as humans, need to start marking options off the list instead of having so many options.
Sure.
Go all in on something.
Be more picky.
Yes. Be more picky and
Yeah.
go all in on something.
Right.
And if it's not what you thought it was, guess what?
You can leave.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You can leave it alone and you can leave it there. And guess what? You've learned something. And you don't have to go back and revisit it.
Yeah.
But let's start learning some things.
Right.
And that removes the issue of school.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you're learning a skill set before you ever want to work there. I know a ton of people who have spent $70,000, $30,000, $50,000 on school, and guess what? They're not even using their degree
Yeah.
in
Right.
the job that they actually wanted.
Right.
Okay, some would say that's a fail. Yes, maybe. It depends on how they view it.
Right.
Okay, but it's okay. Guess what? Failing is also a move forward.
Exactly.
And
It's that practice.
yes,
You get to check
and-
it off.
Yes,
You know, that's
and if
not
you
the
can figure out what
answer.
you're passionate about and the area you want to work in and the job that you may want to work with or the company you want to work for, a lot of times if you get involved in a company, guess what they'll do? They'll pay for your learning.
Right. I mean, that's what I told them. Like, you're going to have to train. When I interviewed for this job, I said, you're going to have to train anybody.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of people more experienced than I am, but you're going to want things done a certain way. You're going to, train them how you want them to work. And so you may as well train me to do the exact same thing because I'm just as capable of learning,
And you may not have the intuition on Adobe. But guess what you already revealed? That your character carried initiative.
Right.
So if I'm if I'm an employer and I see an employee have initiative and I trust them and I respect them, I'm willing to put money behind them
Right.
getting the knowledge and gain the intuition and the training that is intuition so that they become somebody that stays, hey, loyal. And because that's hard to come by because people leave jobs, roles, relationships all the time because they're like, oh, I got what I wanted out of this. And it's
Right.
like, hold up, like there's more here.
Be a good employee. Be a good employee
Yes.
and then be a good boss,
Yes.
in return. And like, it's a 50-50.
Come on.
It doesn't just have to be the boss that's always being the good person. Like team members could definitely strive for whatever they want. And I think that it is a 50-50 relationship and you just got to take it and run.
There's so many creatives
Yeah,
that would give almost anything to be in the role you're in.
sure.
That is a great feeling for you.
Extremely.
It's extremely
Yeah.
powerful.
Right.
And it keeps you committed. It keeps you going. It keeps you like, oh, let's see the reality that is me being where I am.
Yeah.
But you've done the work.
Yeah,
You've done the work.
I did.
And that's what separates you from someone who knows a lot of the Adobe Suite, who maybe hasn't, who has done the work there, but doesn't know anyone
Yeah.
and hasn't actually put the skill set into practice.
Right.
In some ways, practice and experience is greater than like the working knowledge
I mean, I would definitely agree.
in many ways. And that's not putting one before the other because what they have in their favor is intuition,
Right.
speed, Okay, well then they need to sell themselves off of that. And what you do is you sell yourself off of, no, I'm going to take the initiative. So everyone from their point of view, guess what? You have a strategic advantage. What is yours? Know your strategic advantage and then use that to your ability and be honest about who you are, where you are, what you want out of your life.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
And that fires me up. So
thanks.
School is both positive, but guess what? It can be something that holds people back.
Right.
And for you, I think it's encouraging for a lot of people that can't afford it to keep going.
Sure.
What's the one place that you would encourage somebody to learn? Yes, maybe YouTube. Okay. But if they're creative,
right.
What's the one thing that you would say that's not generic, but highly, highly specified that's for them to learn? It doesn't have to be digital either. I'm saying what, just from your perspective, what taught you the most creatively?
Probably copyright, like writing. I'd say that even doing creative work, I mean, creating graphics or writing captions for Instagram or, creating a big campaign and needing a good headliner. How do you pull somebody in? How are you grabbing people? I think that contextually, you've got to draw people in an exciting way, and figuring out how to communicate as a brand, and deciding what's internal versus external, or how do we want this text to come across, and how does it feel like this Mother's Day poem, and things like that. So I'd say that writing is probably one of the most impactful things that I've been coming across, because I think it has a lot to do with how things feel.
That is a phenomenal answer.
Hey, I hope
it's
so.
It's the real answer.
Yeah.
No, I feel that. But it's a phenomenal answer. Just 4 days ago, my math's right, 4 days ago, I was talking to a company that had this one conversation. They need a copywriter. And it's because their brand, they don't even really know what it is.
Right.
They like it. They want to be cutting edge.
And then you've got to keep it consistent.
Who's our voice?
Right.
What is our voice?
Yeah.
Why is our voice what it needs to be? Like all the things. Where does somebody go to learn the basics of copyright? Where'd you go?
Where did I go to learn the basics of copyright?
Based off of what you're talking about.
I mean, honestly, I'd say it is like our everyday apps, Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter. What are these big companies doing to draw people in? What do their ads look like? What words are they using as their important ones, and like just seeing what's actually working and what people are using, because a lot of the books are outdated now anyways. So just start scrolling your feed a little bit more. And
what do you like?
Yeah, what do you like? Go to Barnes & Noble and look at the cookbook typography. I don't know, like just look at the graphics and just look at what people are already doing.
Do you care to give like a few of your, like the accounts that you follow or the brands that you like, or what inspires you? Mackenzie.
Yeah.
The leading creative in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, that's me, baby. Let's see. I love just like, I wouldn't even say that there's like specific brands. I think it's more stylistic things that I like. I love like deep saturated pops of raw color and, like curvature in design and things like that just add whimsical feeling. I think that Huckleberry Roasters in Denver, they have a really great color scheme and concept to their designs on Instagram. Same with Sweet Bloom. I really love their bags and all of their designs on those. So there's definitely a lot of coffee companies that I think are doing really well design-wise that I look towards. But I'd say it's also like makeup companies or house fruit selling. Look at the industries outside of your own and take inspiration from theirs, because if you're doing the same thing all of the other coffee companies are doing, you're gonna look like just another coffee company. So taking inspiration from other places and looking outward.
I'm a fan of what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for joining us.
No,
now you got to go check out downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a fun day.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So this is Full Vantage Podcast. Have conversations like this. Meet people like this. Go in places that inspire you, like Loyal Coffee in Colorado Springs. If you could ever travel here, you need to check it out and maybe work from here. If you're looking for meeting spaces. They got them. And maybe even buy some of the product because the product is legit. Full Vantage, solving problems, seeing dreams become reality. You're only going to do it the best when you get the community that can help you accomplish it fastest. Let's go. Let's get after it.
Let's go.
You guys have a great day. Catch you later.